All right, is that working now? Are we working now? Are we doing all right? Yes. All right. We got the audio. All right. Fix the problem. Hell yeah. For the one viewer that's here. All right. I apologize. Um, I had to, my Focusrite somehow did not have the, like it was basically off. Whatever. All right. Okay. I don't know how that even happened. All right. Yesterday on the show, like I was saying, as I, welcome to the show, everybody. Better Off Dead, Saturday, June 14th. And as I was saying, can't win them all. I'm basically like treading water on the show. Though luckily, I didn't bet those games yesterday because I didn't own 3-day on the show, which sucked ass. Miami, Washington, that under, that was not even close. I apologize for that. That was terrible on my part. Unbelievably. That was an unbelievable over of a game there. I mean, I can't believe both of those teams scored that many runs, but that was dead. Like right away, it's one of those losses that's easier to take if you actually lose money on it because it's dead almost immediately. So you're like, okay, I'm not going to win that one. The White Sox probably could have done that for us, man. The White Sox, I gave it out as a half run line play, half money line play. They were pretty much in that game the whole way. It was a low-scoring game. Maybe I should have gone with an under in that game, really, because that was more of a Texas versus White Sox style of game that you would expect, just not a lot of runs being scored. But I thought that gave us some value on the White Sox. They were down 2-0 for almost the entire game, so it's like just score a run, man. But before they did indeed score one run, they allowed one run, so they lost by 2. At least if they had lost by 1, it would have been a slight win on that play, on the run line portion of it. And then Las Vegas Aces, what the hell were they doing, man? They were losing most of the game. They went into the fourth quarter down, I think, almost double digits, and they wound up winning the game and missing the cover by 2 points. They didn't play a good game, man. They had a huge free throw disparity in the game, although that does kind of factor into the handicap where it's like, well, this team is at home. They're probably going to get the benefit of some of the calls here at home. And as the better team, like, even though they didn't have their center, they're still kind of the better team in the paint. So you kind of figure that there would be some sort of free throw discrepancy there, although it was a massive free throw discrepancy. And that was really the big difference in the game was that. But they still didn't even cover. They won by 4, so that pissed me off. So I'm only 7-6 in the WNBA now. Charles, what's up, man? Thank you. Thanks for hanging out. All right, yeah, I had to fix the audio there, and then I do see the NBA game. They're talking about that over there right now. That was a crazy finish to that game, wild finish to that game. As finally Indiana got a taste of their own medicine, by the way, actually blowing a lead for once. So that wasn't a huge lead, but they were up, I don't know, maybe 8 or so in the fourth quarter, I think. And Oklahoma City was able to come back and get the win, which is good for me because I will be honest with you people. I'm not betting anything right now, except I did actually put money on Oklahoma City in game 2. The play that I gave out on the show, that play, minus 10.5 or whatever, that wound up winning for me, which is good. And I had to do it, man. I pointed this out on the show yesterday. I did actually put some on the Oklahoma City series price. Once they were down 1-2 after they lost game 3, it was, you could find like minus 200 out there, man. It was just too, I was like, this is too much of a, like a gimme price, basically. Like, basically, it came down to last night's game, though, pretty much. So it was getting a little bit tense because basically, I think whoever won last night's game was going to win the series. And now Oklahoma City obviously has a stranglehold because they have 2 of the final 3 games at home, and they are excellent at home. So I think they will get it done. I mean, they're going to be a huge favorite in the home games. Charles, yeah, I mean, people like the story. I don't mind it either. Like, I don't really have a rooting interest in that series one way or the other, except for what my plays are and where my money is. So that's about it. And the fact that I want to be right. So that's basically what we got going on there. But we don't have NBA tonight. We do have Stanley Cup final action tonight with Florida, unfortunately blowing a 3-0 lead. Although I did give out Edmonton as a play on my show. That was the only Stanley Cup Finals play that I gave out on the show. Edmonton in game 4, because they were coming off a blowout loss. Florida blew a 3-0 lead in that game. Edmonton took advantage of a power play. It was another close game, an overtime game. So the teams have exchanged overtime victories in the series, too, with Florida winning in overtime in game 2 and Edmonton winning in overtime in game 4. So actually both road wins in the series have been overtime wins. Now, looking at this game, there are some conflicting factors here. And you look right here, you see Edmonton, fairly small favorite at minus 115. So the odds makers are actually telling you, even though Edmonton's at home, they're not even getting a full home ice factored into the line here. So the odds makers are actually telling you they think Florida is actually the better team. At this point, it looks like the public is kind of back on the Edmonton train because they love that Edmonton scores a lot. 57% of tickets, but only 56% of the cash. So there's a slight market read on the Florida side here. And as far as the total, I haven't had a read on the total all series. Most of the games have been high scoring, but you got to expect that at some point there's going to be some defensive game, although that was kind of Florida in that game 3. They played really well defensively and their goaltending was good, but they themselves scored a ton, so it still went over. 78% of tickets are on the over, but 53% of cash on the under. But the total's gone up a little bit from 6 to 6.5. It's been 6.5 in basically every game. I mean, we know Edmonton just scores a shit ton of goals, so it's really hard to handicap a total in one of their games. Like, you got to expect that one of these games is going to go under. I mean, every game has gone over in the series so far. Florida is probably helped out if there's an under, because that means that Edmonton's offense is probably being kept a little bit in check if there is an under, but it hasn't happened yet, even though, like I said, they did keep Edmonton in check in game 3, and it's just that Florida scored 3 power play goals in the game and won 6-1. Anyway, Edmonton, they're good at home. We know this. I think there is a pretty substantial home advantage in the series, but of course, as I just said, each road team has pulled off one win, both of them in overtime. Each team did have a more decisive win kind of at home, but really the only decisive win was Florida in game 3, winning 6-1. And they actually did, I mean, they didn't outstat Edmonton completely, but they did have a stranglehold on that game. And that leads me to say that I do lean to Florida in this game slightly, even though they did just have like a pretty heartbreaking loss there. But I mean, these teams are used to this at this point. This is the same matchup as last year. And yes, Edmonton is going to be really motivated because it is revenge. I have Florida winning in my bracket, of course, but it was over Colorado in my bracket. But Florida, I mean, again, I lean towards defense, especially when it comes down to a game 5 like this. And if you think that the team that's going to win the series, I mean, whichever team you think is going to win the series is probably going to win this game, because whoever wins this game just needs to win one more after that. And I do actually think it's going to be Florida. I mean, I just tend to start leaning towards the team that has more balance and better defense and a more consistent goaltender. And I think that's what you have with Florida. Edmonton, they've had some issues in this series, man. Skinner was playing well throughout the playoffs until this series. He has not really done that well, and he actually got pulled in the last game. So it's actually possible Edmonton goes with Picard, but that's not a good sign, man. If you're in the Stanley Cup Finals and you basically don't even know who your starting goalie is, which Edmonton has done this in the playoffs the last few years where they have goaltending issues, it's not a good sign. Whereas Florida, they have Bobrovsky in there. He's the guy. They play better defense, and they can still score on offense, just not as proficiently as Edmonton does. But I don't like that situation for Edmonton. And if you look at what's happened in the series, Florida has had the lead in every single game. Like, they've been the team in control of more of the action throughout the series, basically in every game. Florida had a 3-1 lead in game 1, which I believe they wound up losing game 1, right? Is that what it was? Yeah, and then they won game 2 in overtime to tie it, right? Yeah, but Florida had a lead down the stretch in that game, too. They were winning that game with 18 seconds left, and it wound up going into overtime. So they basically had that game wrapped up, but they did wind up winning it anyway. Then they, of course, won 6-1 in game 3. And then in the most recent game, they're winning that game 3-0. So Florida's had the lead for more ice time by far than Edmonton has. That is telling you there that Florida has had the upper hand in this series as well. So that has me leaning Florida a little bit as well. I'm not going to recommend it as a play, though. Yeah, I'm rooting for Florida. I do not want to see Canada take this thing. I'm not a fan of McDavid. I think he's a dirty player. Not a fan, even though I have not been a fan of Tkachuk either. Tkachuk. I tend to not like Florida, but hey, this year They didn't eliminate my Bruins, though. So, and they have Brad Marchand now on their team, so I'm kind of rooting for that guy, man. Get Marchand another title. Why not? He got one with the Bruins. Let's get him one with Florida as well. Let's go, baby. So I am rooting for that guy. All right. Even though everybody else around the league hates him, he's a pest. He's one of those guys where you love him if he's on your team and you hate him otherwise. But I don't hate him right now because he was on the Bruins for so long, and he will retire as a Bruin probably within the next couple of years. All right. Let's go to WNBA where, we have 3 games of the WNBA here. We have LA at Minnesota. And my first instinct here was, well, Minnesota's coming off a loss, so they should be a little bit embarrassed and bounce back, right? But the more that I think about this, the more that I actually don't think that that's the case because Minnesota was undefeated, man. And I talk about this especially in college football, although that has more to do with like the playoff structure and whatever, but it's kind of the case in any sport, though. If you're undefeated deep into the season or this deep into the season, Minnesota was 9-0, and then you finally lose the game, and it was to a Seattle team. It's a pretty good team on the road. Minnesota was like a 4-point favorite or so in that game. Competitive game. You lose a game like that, a lot of times it will hang you over into the next game. And Minnesota is returning home from a road trip, although that, as I've said, in the WNBA, it doesn't have that much of an effect because you have shorter road trips in the WNBA. You're not away for that long. So doesn't matter as much, but Minnesota, I still think that loss could hang them over, actually. So I actually don't lean to Minnesota in this one, the more that I think about it. LA, however, is coming off a big upset win that I pointed out yesterday. That was that one over Vegas, where this is an extreme outlier of a game where LA shot out of their minds, 57%, 45% from 3. Vegas had a horrific shooting game, 37.5%, 25.7 for 3 from 3. So that was an outlier game. So that would also lead you to not want to play LA in this game either because they should probably regress a little bit from that. But I think kind of the decider that I kind of just fell back to in this one is that I think the Minnesota losing their undefeated season hangover spot is a little bit more of a factor, and LA is probably not going to be like totally unfocused coming into a game against Minnesota, where Minnesota might not take LA that seriously. And I believe Minnesota did beat LA on the road earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they did by double digits. So it's a little bit of in-season revenge as well. So I would slightly lean to LA, but I don't want to do it. There's no way I would play LA off of that ridiculous upset of the Aces. Like, I don't know how much left they have in the tank coming into this one. So I will stay away from that one. Although, by the way, LA playing at Las Vegas, that was a huge game for LA because I should have handicapped this. I didn't talk about it at the time. Kelsey Plum, who was on Las Vegas, I think for her entire career, I want to say, just got traded during the offseason to LA, so she was returning to Las Vegas. Although, actually, the big game was actually the first time. Never mind. That was the second time they played Vegas on the road, so the first time would have been her huge game there. But it's still a big deal, kind of. You know, you have a former star player from Vegas, and she's going back to the place where she used to play all the time, you know, so that was a big game. So definitely conflicting factors there. We have Minnesota up from 11 to 11.5. You know, the more I look at this, I'm tempted to give out a play right now on the New York Liberty in the second game here this afternoon because this is a reverse injured player spot for Indiana, man. Agreed? Yes, sir. Probably on something I said about hockey. I don't know. Indiana is in a reverse injured player spot, man, because this is going to be the return of Caitlin Clark. It says that she is going to play today, so she will be back. And I believe Sophie Cunningham is also coming back for Indiana in this game. So they get their big star player back, and they get one of their best defenders back all at once. And you know what I always say, when that happens, it affects the line a little bit. And the team has to get used to playing with her again. And it could be a little bit of a chemistry thing where you have to get that player has to get back up to speed playing in a game again. Team has to get used to playing with them again. So it's actually, usually it's a good spot to fade that team. We are looking at a New York Liberty team that's the only undefeated team left now after Minnesota lost. The Liberty are probably the best team in the league. They're just rolling right now, although they also have had a really, really easy schedule so far. They did win against Indiana with Caitlin Clark. Liberty did beat them on the road. And interestingly, the Liberty were the same size favorite here, 4.5, and now they're 4.5 here, even though Caitlin Clark. Oh, no, wait. Caitlin Clark, what am I saying? Caitlin Clark is playing, so never mind. So the line is exactly the same. So that's about accurate, I guess. So you got to figure, yeah, I mean, it makes sense that the line would just be the same with the same personnel, basically. So the line really hasn't changed since that game, and that does actually make sense. So what do we want to do with this one? Well, I would say you probably play the New York Liberty here. I mean, they're still on a roll right now. I mean, I don't think they're going to be like overly confident or anything like that. Like, you're going to be focused when you know that Caitlin Clark is coming back for Indiana. It's going to be a big game for you. You're going to want to beat her team again. Of course, the public is maybe going to want to be on the Liberty as well because they're undefeated, but the public don't really get involved in games like this. So my lean would be to lay the points with the Liberty in this one, even though it is a little bit of a revenge spot for Indiana. And you know what? Should I put my WNBA record on the line here? Because if I make a play here and I get it wrong, I'm going to be down in the WNBA this year, even though I was 6-3 and probably should have been 8-1 over that span, and now I'm only 7-6. You know what? Whatever. New York Liberty -5. I'll recommend it as a play. It's one of the spots that I look for. It's a reverse injured player spot. Indiana could have some chemistry issues, getting back up to speed there. We will lay it with the Liberty, even though I know it is a revenge spot for Indiana, who did lose on this floor to the Liberty way back early in the season. But I think it's a spot, even though, yes, Indiana is coming off an ugly loss to Atlanta. I gave out Atlanta in that game on my show. I thought it was a bad spot for the Indiana. Shorthanded coming off that big win over Angel Reese, even though Chicago has sucked big time this year. Not sure it's really going to be a bounce back, and it is at least a return home spot, even though, as I just said, it doesn't really matter that much in the WNBA, but at least that is the case. They've had a bunch of days off, though. They've had 3 days off. But the Liberty have also had that many days off, so that's kind of a wash as well. And usually you actually don't want days off when you're on a roll like the Liberty are. You don't want to have that many days off because you want to continue your momentum. But really the main thing is that I think we're looking at an injured players, reverse injured player spot there. So Liberty will be the play there. Yes, sir. Charles, Andrew, what's up, man? All right. And then the other WNBA game, Seattle at Golden State. As I mentioned, Seattle's coming off a big win over Minnesota, man. That was a big win. It was actually revenge as well because they lost at Minnesota in a close game earlier this year. They knocked off one of the undefeated teams. Now they're going and playing this bad Golden State team. Although the one issue that I might have with this, it is a letdown spot for Seattle, yes. So I would probably lean to Golden State. But the issue I have is that people are going to look at this record and say, wait a minute, Seattle's 6-4, Golden State's 4-5. This is a close game, right? And Golden State's won 2 games in a row, including crushing Las Vegas. Well, yeah, but that was just a weird outlier, man. Las Vegas had a terrible game in that game. I think that these records are misleading. I think Seattle is significantly better than Golden State is. So I think if the public is looking at this, they might be a little bit misled thinking that Golden State is better than they actually are, but they're really not that competitive. Other than beating the Sparks twice and Washington, who's not really a good team, that win against Las Vegas, that really makes it look like an outlier. And I believe that it is. This will be the first time that Golden State is playing Seattle. Seattle's laying a ton of points. Again, the odds makers are telling you what you need to know here. Like, you have a 6-4 team against a 4-5 team, yet the 6-4 team only slightly better record, but they're laying 10 points on the road, up from 9.5. So, yeah, so the odds makers are telling you what you need to know. Golden State is not as good as their record looks. Seattle is actually probably better than their record looks. It's just that Seattle is in kind of a letdown spot, so I will stay away from that one. Caitlin Clark is the only reason you care about the WNBA. Well, yeah, because it's become this like political thing, and like the league tends to hate her, man. And it seems like it is like a race thing as well, which is crazy. And the league kind of gets away with like beating her up out there, so you kind of have to root for Caitlin Clark. Yeah, I mean, it's just a ridiculous situation. All right, let's go to MLB. I want to try to get through this, man. I always handicap all the MLB games, and I hate the MLB card today. Yesterday did me wrong. I added that one play late. I only have one play today, and it's a first 5-inning side. That's how much I hate this card. Miami and Washington. Cade Gibson is the listed starter for Miami. Yesterday's game was a total disaster. As we know, Miami won 11-9. The pitching just got wrecked in that game on both sides. Both bullpens are terrible anyway, but both bullpens got a bunch of usage yesterday as well. So the bullpen situation is real bad for both teams, and that's really not good for Miami because Cade Gibson being the listed starter, yeah, he's got good numbers, .93 ERA, 1.09 whip. That's because he's a relief pitcher, and he's going to be making like an opener type of start, I have to imagine here. So he's only going to go a couple of innings. So that means that Miami, with a completely torched bullpen, is going to be having a bullpen game today. Good luck with that. I mean, that seems like it's a disaster waiting to happen. But can we really play Washington over here with Trevor Williams on the mound? I don't know about that. 5.91 ERA, 1.44 whip. That doesn't look good at all. He's been even worse at home with a 6.68 home ERA. He's not in good form right now. Hasn't even got 5 innings in each of his last 2 starts. 6-1 strikeout walk ratio is okay, but he gave up 7 runs and 11 hits in 8 2/3. Pretty bad. Against Miami, even though they can't even hit, his numbers are terrible. In 39 at-bats, 385 average, 1,030 OPS. We want nothing to do with Williams here either. And I think the only way to look at this game is the over, man. That is what I would do in this game. I'm kind of tempted to play it, actually. We have 69% of tickets on the over, 75% of the cash on the over. We got a bad pitcher against a bullpen game. The only problem is that neither offense is that good, but they didn't have any problems scoring yesterday. Both bullpens are completely torched, and the money looks like it is coming in on the over, and it's flipped from 9 juice to the under to 9 juice to the over. Both bullpens are terrible anyway. Should I add this play? Man. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I can't believe I keep doing this, man. I will add one play here. And, of course, it's going with what happened yesterday. I lost yesterday on the under. The game went way over. So, of course, now you know I'm going to give out the over here. And it's going to be an under. At least I didn't actually bet it yesterday. But, yeah, we'll go with over. Let me see what the best number I can get on this is right now. Of course, yeah, the first game I talk myself into making a play. The more I, analyze it. What are we looking at? Miami. I'm looking at Action Network here. Just to see what we get for a price here. Does look like the money, according to them, is coming in on the over as well. You can get a decent price on this. Over 9 at -115. All right. I'm insane. Let's do it. Over 9 at -115, man. That's going to be the other play that we got there. Let's add it. 9, of course, as I mentioned, is a key number in baseball totals because you want to be on the correct side of 9. You don't want to go over 9.5 because if the game lands exactly 9, we want it to at least be a push. And a lot of times that will happen because you need the 9th run to break a 4-4 tie. So I'm going to recommend that. You think it is race? Yeah. You agree with me on the over? All right. Well, maybe I don't know what I'm doing, though. A lot of pitchers throwing their arm out, chasing fastball speed. Yeah, I mean, I'm not so sure. I mean, some guys are. I mean, Dusty Baker, I don't think is still managing in the league, right? He was the guy that really did that to his pitchers. Betting Toad is interviewing for a job, Toad. Yeah, this is my job interview, man. Watch my show, Better Off Dead. All right, so that's an over. I'm recommending as a play in that one. Cincinnati and Detroit. I will say that on Action Network, I see a lot of money coming in on Cincinnati in this game. I don't quite see it. And on pregame here, the opposite kind of looks the case. Although Detroit does look public, 81% of tickets, but 95% of the cash. They're up from -165 to -174. Do I think that that's maybe too big of a line on Detroit? Yeah, maybe. Because, I mean, Detroit, we know they're really good at home, but their record is really good, so you're not really going to get a bargain on Detroit anymore here. Detroit won yesterday, 11-5 against Cincinnati. Detroit did use more of their bullpen. They kind of had a bullpen game. Remember I told you yesterday Montero was listed as a starter, and then it became undecided, and I said Montero's going to pitch as a follower in this game, and I was exactly right about that. It made it a really tough game to handicap, though. But Detroit went with a bullpen game. They do generally have the better bullpen than Cincinnati, but in a spot like this, both bullpens kind of got used yesterday. So I don't really want any part of the bullpens in this game. Brady Singer is pitching for the Reds, 4.59 ERA, 1.35 whip. Not great. He's actually had more difficulty on the road. Weird, because he's pitching for the Reds for the first time, and their stadium is not easy for pitchers, and he's actually been good at home. Bad on the road, 5.74 road ERA. He's been a little bit iffy this month. I mean, he's got 5 innings in each start, but only exactly 5, and he has a 7-6 strikeout walk ratio, which isn't good, even though he hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start going all the way back through May 16th. But these aren't exactly great starts, man. He's walking too many guys, so that worries me a little bit. His numbers against Detroit are not bad, though, in 80 at-bats. 20-10 strikeout walk ratios, that's still too many walks, but he has held him to a 263 average, 694 OPS. So Brady Singer, he has decent numbers against Detroit, even though we remember Brady Singer was on Kansas City, so Detroit has seen a lot of him, so they are familiar with him. So it's kind of some conflicting factors there, too, but generally, he is better on the road, and his matchup numbers are not that bad against Detroit. Jack Flaherty's pitching for Detroit. He's having a good season, 3.41 ERA, 1.07 whip. There he is talking about his mother, but it's Father's Day this weekend, man, not Mother's Day. What? I don't know. Jack Flaherty, he's been better at home, 2.56 ERA, and that's where he is today. He's in pretty decent form right now. I mean, he's coming off a 9 strikeout shutout performance. Detroit's won 3 of his last 3 starts. Hasn't allowed more than 1 earned run in any of them, going at exactly 6 innings in all of them. That's a decent sign. Against the Reds, his numbers aren't great in a small 14 at-bat sample size, 286 average, 905 OPS. Not really that great, so I can somewhat understand why some of the money might be coming in on Cincinnati. I could see this being a Cincinnati game. I mean, I do think there might be value there. I mean, Detroit did use a lot of their bullpen yesterday. Seems like Detroit, the starting pitching situation may actually be a slight advantage to Singer based on the matchup numbers there, but he is more familiar to the opposing bats, so I don't really want to have anything to do with this. It looks like the number has gone down a little bit from 8.5 to 8 on the total as well. So the number is moving towards the under, even though we see 56% of the tickets and 61% of the cash on the over. I think an under kind of makes more sense there as well, because I kind of think both pitchers might be decent in that game. DraftKings, I mean, they're not going to hire me, man. They're a corporate, bullshit progressive company in Boston. Trunk's birthday. Who the hell is Trunk? An elephant? All right, let me see. Pittsburgh, Chicago. Pittsburgh actually got the win yesterday. I mean, it was behind Paul Skeens, but Pittsburgh is such a bad team. They usually don't even win behind Skeens, but they did yesterday. Skeens gave them another Skeens-like effort, and Pittsburgh got the win with Chicago being held completely down. It was a 2-1 extra innings win. So both bullpens have seen some usage here in yesterday's game. Both teams did use a lot of their bullpen yesterday. Pirates obviously have the worst of the 2 bullpens. They got Mike Burrows on the mound. He's a young guy. He's in his rookie season. His numbers don't look good. 5 ERA, 1.39 whip. He's been a little bit better recently, though, I would say. He did have a 5 1/3 inning shutout, 6 strikeouts, no walks against Houston, which was his best start. Got a little bit wild again in his last start, only lasting 4 1/3 and walking 3 guys. He did strike out 6 against Miami, so his strikeout rate has been pretty good in the month of June. So he's been pitching okay, and the Pirates have actually won his last 3 starts, which is interesting. So I don't think Burrows is as bad as his numbers look. He has been really bad on the road, though, with a 10.8 ERA, but that is only in 1 start at Chase Field, which is not an easy environment to pitch in against Arizona, but he is facing another really good offense here. The Cubs stepping back up in class. The Cubs have never seen him before, except Birdie, I guess, is 0 for 1 off him with a walk, so he must have been on a different team. I don't know. I don't really know who he is. But basically, Burrows has never been seen before by the Cubs, so that's a little bit of an advantage to a pitcher when the opposing offense hasn't seen them before, but this is a good Cub offense, man, so I don't know if we trust Burrows quite yet. Matthew Boyd is on the mound for the Cubs. 2.89 ERA this year is really nice. 1.23 whip is not quite as good. He's been little bit better at home, 2.4 ERA, been pitching pretty well at home. I don't know what I would say as far as his form. He had a couple of really nice starts against the Rockies and the Nats, although they're not very good offenses, but he had 14 strikeouts and 1 walk in those 2 outings. Came back and didn't strike out anybody against Philadelphia, but he still only allowed 1 earned run against them. So that's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, when you don't strike anybody out, that's usually a red flag, but I don't know. I mean, it was still a decent outing on the road against a good offense, so it's a little bit tough to gauge that one. I would say he's still in decent current form, and he is facing a bad Pirate lineup, but the Pirates actually have hit him okay in the past. 50 at-bats. They have a 280 average, 765 OPS. So those numbers actually aren't that bad for the Pirates against Boyd, so I don't think that there's any value in playing the Cubs here. They're down from minus 220 to minus 217. I mean, I don't think you can play them on the money line. I wouldn't play them in any capacity really here. 94% of the tickets, 96% of the cash on the Cubs. But that really just tells you they're ridiculously public. The money's coming in on the under. It looks like it must be another wind blowing in Wrigley Field game here with the total down from 7.5 to 7. Very low total, especially considering the Cubs have a good offense. 74% of tickets on the over, 51% of the cash on the under. I mean, it looks like the under is the strongest market read here, but I don't know if I trust it. I mean, Burrows, we got to see a little bit more out of him. Boyd, his numbers just aren't really that good against Pittsburgh. So I could see it going either way, and I could see just taking a shot on Pittsburgh again in this one just because I think the line on the Cubs is just a bit too high given what that matchup is. Oh, Trump. Oh, yeah, it's Trump's birthday. That's right. Yeah. I don't think I have seen that video. Maybe I did, but I forget. Somebody calls him Trunk. A hood rat calls him Trunk. Okay. Donald Trunk. Yes. Maybe Trunk is actually a reference to his large penis or something. Maybe he actually has a big one, even though people claim otherwise. All right, we have Anaheim at Baltimore. Baltimore won the first game 2-0 yesterday. Shocking that this game was as low scoring as it was in a matchup of Charlie Morton and Jack Kohanowitz and these terrible bullpens. You're telling me the bullpens didn't allow any runs and they both pitched like half the game? I'm actually pretty shocked by that. And Charlie Morton, 41 years old, had 10 strikeouts. I mean, he is so difficult to handicap right now, man. He comes to pitch in some of these games, and in other games he does not, although he has been better recently. But we're not handicapping him today. We're looking at some bad bullpens that are used up here, so I certainly do not like the bullpens in this game. Tyler Anderson is pitching for Anaheim. His ERA looks okay, 3.99, but his whip is not good, 1.31. He's putting too many guys on base, man, even though his 11-3 strikeout walk ratio this month is okay, but allowing 15 hits and 8 runs in 9 innings is not okay. And he's gone fewer than 5 innings in 3 out of his last 4 starts, so he is coming out of form, which I expected because Anderson is not as good as how he was pitching earlier this year. He's also been way worse on the road with a 5.58 road ERA. That's not good. Against Baltimore, his numbers aren't great either. 37 at-bats, 270 average, 882 OPS. Gunnar Henderson is 4 for 7 with 2 doubles and a home run off him, so a little bit of player prop potential there. If you want to go hits plus runs plus RBIs, over is what I always recommend there. Tyler Anderson may be a little bit in for it here, man. He's not good on the road. Not good against Baltimore. Baltimore has one of their more consistent starters here pitching in Sugano, the newcomer to the major leagues. But he's been one of the, he's the Japanese pitcher who I think has made the easiest adjustment to pitching in the States. I think just because he's had such a long career in Japan, he's just used to pitching professionally. 3.23 ERA, 1.1 whip. He's having a good season, man, even though, again, the analytics guys don't like him because he doesn't strike guys out. But there's really not a whole lot to dislike. I mean, he's had one game this entire season where he allowed more than 3 earned runs. He's coming off one where he didn't go 5 innings, which I think might have been the first, I don't know, it was only the third time, excuse me. One of the times he got hurt, though. Like in his first outing, he came out of the game early because of a cramp or something. So really, it was only his second real outing where he didn't go 5 innings in the game. And I think we'll give him a pass for that because it was at the A's, and you know how difficult it is to pitch in that ridiculous stadium in Sacramento, and the defense kind of hurt him. There was one unearned run in there. So I would still say Sugano's pitching well. He's basically pitched well all season. He has been a little bit worse at home, though, 3.67 ERA, but that's still not that bad. And Anaheim has seen him this year, but in 20 at-bats, 4 strikeouts, no walks. They only have 1 extra base hit, a double from Rengifo. He has a 100 batting average against Anaheim and 250 OPS. So Sugano has done quite well against them. So I think you got to lean to Baltimore in this game. And I think if you do that, both bullpens suck. So, I mean, I could see it going either way. So it's fine to leave the bullpens in, but I mean, I could see taking the bullpens out as well and going Baltimore first 5 innings. But the money looks like it's coming in on Anaheim, and I don't really understand that. Baltimore sitting at minus 155, which that also looks like a misleading line, right? Because what recreational bettor is going to come in and say, oh yeah, I want this 28-40 Baltimore team laying a price like that against a 33-35 Angels team? Like, the line doesn't make sense, right? But the odds makers are telling you Baltimore has an advantage in this game. I agree with that. I would go either first 5 inning or full game on Baltimore if I was going to play the game. 59% of tickets are on Anaheim, 75% of the cash on Anaheim. I don't understand that because I think Baltimore is the correct way to look in that game. I think they have a significant starting pitching edge. I'm tempted to give it out. Should I give out another play right now on the show? Because I think it's a way better spot for Sugano, man. I like him a lot better, even though he's slightly worse at home. Let me see. What can we get for a number here? Let's do a split run line bet, maybe. I mean, even though it looks like the money is coming in opposite that, should I just completely fade that? It still does look like the public is kind of on Anaheim, and I like that it's a misleading line. We can get Baltimore minus 1.5 on the run line at plus 130, and we can get money line minus 156. All right. Plus 130 and minus 156. I'm adding too many plays on the fly, man. Let's hope this doesn't screw me. I know. I'm adding 2 plays on the fly. The one I added yesterday didn't win. Most of the ones that I add don't win. But when I handicapped this earlier, I almost made a play on it. So whatever. Baltimore, half on the run line at plus 130, half on the money line minus 156. Or if you want to do a minus 1 run line, you could probably get that at somewhere close to a minus 120 price, I would guess, at DraftKings or wherever you want to go for that. So that is how I would look in that game. Let's keep it going, man. All right. How deep am I into this video? All right, we're not doing too bad here. I went 2 hours yesterday because I was bullshitting, but I think it was probably some good bullshit. Toronto's at Philadelphia. Philadelphia is trying to get some revenge here. They did win yesterday. They lost 2 out of 3 to Toronto back in Toronto not that long ago. Now Philadelphia is trying to repay the favor, and they've started off by beating Toronto 8-0 yesterday with another good performance from Suarez, who I'm expecting to regress at some point, man. And really, the bullpen didn't do well for the Blue Jays yesterday. I thought it was going to be a nice pitching matchup. Gaussman did okay, but the bullpen really kind of screwed the total there. I don't remember what the game total was in that game, so I don't remember. Did it actually still go under? Because I think I said I leaned to the under in that game. No, it went over the 7.5. Very unfortunate. But I probably would have taken the bullpens out of it, though, just because of the Philadelphia bullpen being bad. But it was Toronto's bullpen that didn't do well. Bowden Francis is pitching for Toronto today, and my boy Bowden, man, I loved him at the end of last year, and he has been awful this year. It is bad. 6.12 ERA, 1.56 WHIP. He is completely collapsed, but he has been more serviceable on the road, at least with a 4.4 ERA on the road. So he's been better on the road. He did just face Philadelphia, though, and he got absolutely massacred. They massacred my boy. 1.2 innings pitched. He gave up 7 runs, 6 of them earned. Man, 7 hits, 2 walks, 2 home runs. He got absolutely blasted. And that's not a good sign because he's seeing Philadelphia again right now. Though you got to think he's not going to do as bad as that. And that was at home where he's been worse at home. So you got to think Francis is going to do better in this game. But Philadelphia just saw him, which is usually an advantage to the bats. Because once they just saw a pitcher, they usually tend to do better the second time out in quick succession. So there's good and bad for Francis there. I think because he did so bad, he might be a little bit angry and bounce back a little bit, but his numbers against Philly are pretty bad, and 36 at-bats. This includes that really bad start, obviously. 306 average, 797 OPS. Not good numbers, really. He's up against Christopher Sanchez, who's having a better season, 3.1 ERA, 1.29 whip. Sanchez, he seems to always put too many men on base, man, but he gets away with it because his strikeout rate is so high. Coming off a 9-strikeout effort against Pittsburgh, which is pretty solid. He walked 4 guys, 2 guys, and 3 guys in the previous 3 outings, though, which is not a great sign, including 4 walks against Toronto, but he did hold them to 1 earned run. But that does mean that Sanchez was just seen by Toronto. So now both lineups here have just seen these starting pitchers recently. So the starting lineups may have a little bit of an extra edge because of that. Sanchez has been a little bit worse at home with a 3.38 ERA. Again, he has struggled with wildness a little bit. And against Toronto, though, his numbers are good. In 54 at-bats, he has a 204 average, 605 OPS allowed. So his numbers are better against Toronto. So probably you do have to look to Philadelphia in this game. And I don't trust Philly's bullpen, so probably it would be a Philadelphia first 5-inning play. But they're way too public here, man. And the money looks like it's coming in against them, which is kind of crazy to me. 86% of tickets, only 81% of the cash. The line down from minus 160 to minus 155 on Philadelphia. So they're public with the line moving against them. That, again, seems a little bit crazy to me, although I could see one argument being that, well, Sanchez is going to do a little bit worse than he did the last time out against Toronto because they did just see him, whereas Francis couldn't possibly do as bad as he did in the last outing, so he should be a little bit better. I could see that being the argument here. And Toronto's bullpen is better, but I still don't love it, man. Toronto did use some of their relief pitchers yesterday. Money also coming in on the under, and I don't really see the argument for that either. 71% of tickets on the over, only 67% of the cash actually on the under. Strong indicators on the under with those percentages, and I don't really understand that either, man, because when you have a matchup between 2 pitchers that just were seen by the opposing offenses, I think that helps the offenses, so I don't see that either. So that's a stay away. Oh, thank you. Yes, I try to entertain, but that was kind of an outlier episode, man. I usually do not do that, especially sometimes I want to get this done, even though I'm doing this, for you people and because I like to talk about it. I like to have fun, but I do have to, I'm going to go see my parents in a little bit, so I got to get this video done here. We have White Sox in Texas, of course, as I mentioned. Texas won 3-1 yesterday. Chicago has Mike Vasil as the listed starter, which means they are going with a bullpen game here. My boy from Boston, Mass, Mike Vasil, 2.18 ERA, 1.26 whip. I mean, those are okay numbers, but remember, he's doing it in short appearances, and I think he has made at least one opener appearance. I think it was last time out. He did face Texas once this year and pitched 3 shutout innings with 1 hit allowed. So he did pretty well in that outing against Texas. Texas' offense not really that good, but again, Vasil, you're probably going to get 3 innings max out of him here, and then the White Sox are turning it over to their bullpen, which is not a very good bullpen. So I don't really think you would want any part of a Chicago bullpen game here, man. I wouldn't personally want that. Up against Texas, Vasil, for as long as he's in the game here, he does have good numbers against them, pretty much all in that previous game where he faced them this year. They're only 1 for 10 off him with no extra base hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, a 100 average, 282 OPS, so he did pitch well in that outing. But he's up against Jacob deGrom, who is having an excellent comeback season, man. I don't know, does the MLB have a comeback player of the year award? Because it should be deGrom, right? I mean, he's coming back. It's going to be deGrom or Lance McCullers, man. McCullers didn't have a good outing the last time out, though. But if McCullers has a really great, if he continues to be really great, besides that start, he's started to pitch really well as well. But deGrom is just having an excellent season, man. Coming back from injury, so really it would be him. Comeback player of the year, baby. 2.12 ERA, 0.92 whip. Great stuff. He's been better at home, too, with a 1.69 ERA. He's been very difficult to get to at home. He's coming off a 7-inning, 8-strikeout, 2-hit, no-walk shutout against Washington on the road. He's definitely in pretty good form right now, even though he did slip a little bit the other 2 starts prior to that with no strikeouts in one of those and 4 in the next. He had a combined 4-5 strikeout walk ratio in those previous 2 starts, but he still barely allowed any runs. He hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any start going all the way back to April 11th. DeGrom, I mean, he's definitely dealing it. And he's facing a very bad White Sox lineup here, and only 4 of them have ever seen him before. And they're a very weak 5 for 47 off him with 22 strikeouts and 3 walks. DeGrom has completely dominated this lineup. 106 average, 330 OPS. So obviously, DeGrom has a monster advantage over a Chicago White Sox bullpen game here. The problem is you have to lay a massive price. And it's actually gone down from minus 370 to minus 325. I mean, I just don't think there's any value in doing it, even though Texas should have the edge in this game. 94% of tickets and 84% of the cash on Texas, so they're very, very public. Public does not want any part of the White Sox, and they love that Texas has been scoring a lot recently just because they wrecked the Twins in that previous series. Should have gone under yesterday. I mentioned that. Man, I should have gone under. I mentioned the game yesterday saying, well, Texas is coming off scoring 16 runs in 2 of the last 3 games, and under probably made sense yesterday too. Yeah, it did make sense. And money's coming in on the under in this game too with a very low total, 7.5. Looks like it's going to be at 7 basically at this point. 81% of tickets, 98% of the cash on the under. I don't know if I would trust the under though. If you're trusting the under with the Chicago White Sox bullpen game, it's basically you're saying, well, I don't think Texas's offense is going to score. So you're mostly banking on Texas's offense being bad. You do have to worry a little bit about the bullpen usage that happened yesterday. I don't think it was that significant. And Texas's bullpen is still pretty good. But DeGrom is probably going to get you deep into this game, man. I mean, he more often than not will get you at least 6 innings. So if you want to talk about like an outs recorded prop, you could look for DeGrom to go over his outs recorded prop because he dominates the White Sox. But you probably won't get that much of a bargain on it, that good of a number on it. It probably should be about 18. So you'd have to go over 18 outs recorded, which he may still do. I mean, he dominates this lineup. I think if I was going to have money on this game at all, I would probably go White Sox team total under because Texas, DeGrom dominates the White Sox so hard that that's the way I would look. But you're probably going to have to go under 2.5 or something like that. So there's really almost no room for error. But of course, the White Sox, they do have a lot of games where they don't even score 2 runs. So start low with the under. Yeah, that's right. Under team total White Sox is maybe the best way to play that game because DeGrom dominates them. Atlanta beat Colorado yesterday, even though it was a return home spot. Didn't matter. Colorado sucks. And Atlanta was actually seemingly distracted early on because Colorado actually had a 4-0 lead in that game, I'm pretty sure, or 4-1 or something. And Atlanta absolutely raked against the Colorado bullpen. Colorado's bullpen was horrendous in the game yesterday, and Atlanta wound up winning 12-4 with like 8 late runs scored. Ridiculous game for Atlanta there. I don't even know what happened with the starting pitching, but I think a lot of the bullpen usage happened. Yeah, so the Braves used a ton of their bullpen. So the bullpen situation, not good here in this game because Colorado's bullpen is terrible, and Atlanta has a really, really used up bullpen here. Dollander is pitching for Colorado. He's not having a good rookie season here. I mean, it's tough to pitch at Coors Field, man. 6.85 ERA, 1.54 whip. He has been better on the road away from Coors Field with a 4.5 road ERA. So that's at least better. I mean, he's at least somewhat serviceable on the road. Not in great form here, though. Only going 3 innings each in his 2 starts in June. 4-4 strikeout walk ratio, allowing more than 1 run an inning. That's not good. That's not going to get the job done. Up against Atlanta, they've never... Oh, no, they have seen him before. What am I saying? I guess they saw him this year. Wait, did they see him this year? They must have. Yeah. So Dollander actually pitched at home against Atlanta and actually had a pretty decent game against them. 5 2/3, only gave up 1 earned run and 2 hits, but he did walk 3 guys. Struck out 4, but that was still a pretty solid outing for Dollander. So because of that, his numbers against Atlanta are good. They're only 2 for 17 off in lifetime. Like I said, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, 118 average, 368 OPS. But because Atlanta maybe was at a disadvantage having not seen Dollander before, they might be at more of an advantage this time because they have seen him now. So they might be able to hit him a little bit better here. So Atlanta might be at a little bit less of a disadvantage this time out now, knowing what Dollander throws. And I think probably Acuna wasn't there for that game, but he's come back, so Atlanta does have him. Spencer Strider is pitching for Atlanta. He's not having a good season. He's trying to come back from injury, and it hasn't been good so far. 5.4 ERA, 1.28 whip. He has a 9 ERA at home so far, which is really ugly, but it was only in one home start, I think. Was it one? I think it was, yeah, and it was against a really difficult Diamondbacks lineup, so you can maybe give him a pass for that. I mean, all of his other starts are on the road. He's made 4 road starts, so Strider has not really had an easy task to start this season with his to try to start his comeback, so it hasn't really been that easy for him. His numbers are good overall against Colorado, and 22 at-bats, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, 227 average, 534 OPS, so he has been good against Colorado, and Colorado has not seen Strider before this season. So Strider might have a little bit of an edge here because Atlanta saw Dollander this year and got to see what he was going to throw at them. Strider has not faced Colorado recently. So this all depends on if you think Strider is going to be, like, is he going to be back in form yet or not? I don't know. I mean, I do think Atlanta does have the edge here, but they have obviously they're the better team in general, but I think because their bullpen is totally used up, even though they have the way better offense, I think this is way too much of a price to pay for Atlanta. They're up from minus 325 to minus 335, even though they should have the starting pitching edge here too. 93% of tickets, 97% of the cash. There's no way that you can lay a price like that with Atlanta. I mean, if you want to jump in on this game, man, I mean, it's tough to even recommend something on this game. Maybe Atlanta's team total over, even though they scored a ton of runs yesterday, but it might make sense because Colorado's probably going to be into their bullpen at some point in this game, and their bullpen is just not good. And Dollander may do worse this time out because Atlanta has seen him before, so that may be the way to look. Tampa at the Mets. This is going to be this is going to be my only MLB play before I added the 2 late plays. I'm going to go Tampa first 5 inning first 5 inning money line, at minus 110. So Tampa to be leading after the first 5 innings. If it's tied at that point, this bet will push if you play the money line. And now this is interesting because the odds makers are really telling you something here because Tampa is minus 110 on the first 5 inning line, but they're plus 120 on the full game. So what does that mean? The odds makers are telling you that means the starting pitching is more of an advantage to Tampa than the rest of the game is. And I agree with that, which is why I only want to play this, because the odds makers are signaling to you that that is the case, and I still don't think this is that bad of a number. I mean, I'd prefer to get Tampa as an underdog here, but I still like it. I mean, if you want them as an underdog, you could play Tampa full game, but I worry about that a little bit because Tampa did use some of their best relief pitchers yesterday, and the Mets saved more of their bullpen yesterday. It was a Tampa win yesterday, too, so the Mets might be a little bit angry and bounce back, but you can see here Tampa really unloaded like all their best relief pitchers. Both teams have a pretty good bullpen, so I think the Mets have the bullpen advantage in this one just because Tampa's bullpen usage is more heavy right now. So that's what worries me about that. So this is going to be a first 5 inning play, and I like the starting pitching matchup for Tampa with Drew Rasmussen, who has kind of proven me wrong this year, man. He's having a good season. 2.22 ERA, 0.9 whip. Anytime you have a whip lower than 1, that's like putting you in almost elite category as far as the whip is concerned. He's been a little bit worse on the road, but still a 2.81 ERA. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. 11-1 strikeout walk ratio in 11 innings in the month of June, and he has gone at least 5 innings. He's gone 6 innings in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's allowed 0 runs in 4 of his last 5 starts, and his team has won every single one of those games, have won all 5 of them, and he's picked up the win in 3 of them, which means that they had the lead when he exited the game. So I like all of that. He's in good form right now. His team is doing well behind him. He's only allowed more than 3 earned runs once this entire season, which is pretty insane as well. He's having a really good season. And the Mets have basically never seen him before. Only Lindor and Soto have ever seen him before, and they each have a walk against him, and that's it. So there's not a whole lot you can take away from that. So a lot of the Mets hitters are going to be facing Rasmussen for the first time. So I think that's an advantage, again, to Rasmussen because that pitcher usually has an edge early on when they're facing hitters that just have to adjust to him and haven't seen them before. So I like Rasmussen over McGill in this one. McGill has a pretty decent-looking 3.76 ERA here for the Mets, but a 1.3 whip is not very good. That's indicating he's putting too many guys on base. And again, I think he is, even though he's been pitching decently as far as he's not allowing that many runs. But he's kind of gone out of form a bit since basically the beginning of May, where he allowed 4 runs in 3 straight starts. Had 3 straight starts, not even going 5 innings in any of them. Did pitch pretty well against the Dodgers, had a really up start against the Dodgers. Then he didn't pitch well in Coors Field. Debatably. I mean, in Coors Field, he walked 3 guys. So the fact that he walked guys in that start isn't a good sign, really, because that's not the field impacting you. Like, if it was Coors Field that was hurting him, you'd see that he allowed home runs, and he didn't allow any home runs in that start. So it was really his wildness was the problem. And overall, he is too wild, which is why his whip is too high. So I don't love McGill as much here. Against Tampa, only 4 of their hitters have seen him before, but they're 4 for 10 off him with 2 home runs. Both Lowe and Morel are 2 for 3 off him with a home run. Morel also with a walk. A 1-to-1 strikeout walk ratio for Tampa against a 400 average, 1,555 OPS. So even though Tampa does have a lot of guys that haven't seen McGill either, I think Tampa actually does have the advantage in that starting pitching matchup. So that's where I'm going to go with it. Tampa Bay on the money line in the first 5 innings. Full game, I mean, if you want to do it, I'm not going to, totally disagree with it. I just think that it's riskier because the bullpen is not in good shape for Tampa, but you are getting a better underdog price on it. Mets are public. Of course they are. I mean, the Mets have a really good record, so they're going to be the public team. So you're fading the public here, which I like as well. 79% of tickets, 79% of the cash on them. And the line has dropped from -140 to -130 on the money line. And there is some strong, so there's market indicators on Tampa, which I agree with, and there are strong market indicators on the under as well. Total's gone down from 8 juice to the under to 7 juice to the over. 58% of tickets on the over, but 51% of cash on the under. I don't think I would want to go full game under here, though, even though both bullpens are normally good. Tampa's bullpen is just too used up, so I don't want to do it. But first 5 inning, money line, Tampa is the play. Minnesota is at Houston. Houston got the win 10-3 yesterday. They're on a 3-game win streak here. Twins not bouncing back from that embarrassing showing against the Rangers in the last series. Paddock had a really bad start for them here. He had been pitching really well all season and just got nuked yesterday, which is insane. Gordon actually pitching pretty well for Houston here. Both bullpens are in decent shape in this game, and they're not bad bullpens. So I'm seeing, the bullpen situation looks good. And then I'm seeing this matchup, Joe Ryan against Hunter Brown, like the best starting pitcher on each team facing off here. It looks like a great pitching duel. So I'm like, holy crap, we want to go under in this game, right? But then I looked at the pitching matchup and I'm like, I actually am not sure about that. I mean, starting with their numbers, yeah. I mean, this looks like it's going to be a great matchup to go under. Joe Ryan, 2.96 ERA this year, 0.93 whip. He has pretty much elite numbers this year, but I'm looking at his recent performance. I'm like, I don't know, man. This month, he hasn't been in great form with a 10-6 strikeout walk ratio. That's a little bit questionable. So his control hasn't been there really in his last couple of starts. That worries me, even though the Twins have won 6 starts in a row of his. Ryan, basically the same at home and on the road, so there's no real significant, not really any significance in his splits there. Against Houston, though, this is where I start to worry because his numbers are actually not terrific. In 73 at-bats, 21-4 strikeout walk ratio is really good, but a 260 average, mediocre, and 751 OPS is kind of high. 4 home runs allowed to 4 different batters. Brendan Rodgers, 4 for 8 with a home run. Christian Walker, 2 for 4 with a home run and no walks, despite his name. But those 2 guys especially do damage. I mean, you could look for player props there. So I don't really know that I actually want to start looking at the under. So I'm thinking, oh, man, that's not that good. Let's look at Hunter Brown here. Hunter Brown having a great season as well. 1.82 ERA, 0.96 whip. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. But this month, his strikeout walk ratio is bad. 14-9. I mean, he's walking too many guys too. So I'm worried about the current form of both pitchers, even though Brown has been so unhittable that he's only allowed 1 run in those 2 starts. But the walks are an issue, man, so I'm a little bit worried about that. Houston has won 3 games in a row for him. He has been really good at home with a .88 ERA at home. But against Minnesota, his numbers are not that good in 84 at-bats, a really nice 29-3 strikeout walk ratio, but a 298 average, 739 OPS, somewhat high as well. So I worry a little bit. I think I worry less about Brown, though, because I think a lot of those stats were not this season. He faced Minnesota once this season. He did well with a 6-inning shutout. Well, not a shutout. He allowed no earned runs. He allowed 2 earned runs. What am I saying? Excuse me. 6-inning, 2-run performance with 8 strikeouts, no walks. So he did well in that one start. So the reason I think Brown is the safer option here is because I think his stats against Minnesota are a little bit misleading because that was before Brown had become this really good pitcher this year. So a lot of his stats are in the past. So I think that's the way you got to look at Brown here. Whereas Joe Ryan, I mean, he's had more of a track record. He's been in the league for a longer time. He's been a good pitcher for a longer amount of time. So his numbers against Houston are a little bit more concerning. And he wasn't that good against Houston when he faced them this year. He gave up 2 home runs, though. Well, I mean, maybe it wasn't that bad of a performance because he had a 6-0 strikeout walk ratio. 4 runs allowed because he allowed 2 home runs. So maybe you could give him a pass for that, but he does kind of allow too many home runs. It's kind of his issue. So I think Hunter Brown is the safer option in this game. I still probably do slightly lean to the under, but I am a little bit concerned by it. But, your concerns could be alleviated a little bit by the fact that both pitchers are really great this year overall. They both have really good strikeout walk ratios against these opposing lineups, but the opposing OPS against is a little bit concerning, and the recent form of these pitchers is a little bit concerning. But the number has gone down from 7 to 7, juice to the under, so it's going close to 6.5. If it's 6.5, I think you really don't want it. I will almost never play it under 6.5 because there's almost no margin of error there. There's almost no room for error with a 6.5, and you lose the key number 7 because 7 is what breaks the 3-3 tie. So if you're going under, you really want to at least get an under 7. So that if it hits 7, it pushes. We do have 68% of tickets on the under, 83% of the cash on the under. So the money's coming in on the under, and it's actually coming in on Minnesota. Houston down from -130, -108, 68% of tickets on Houston, 58% of cash coming in on Minnesota. I'm not quite sure I agree with that because I think Brown is actually a little bit more trustworthy of a pitcher just based on, what they've done this season, but not by much. I think the under is still probably the best way to look in that game, but it's like, I think it's a bit of a risk. A's are at Kansas City. Kansas City lost to the A's yesterday. They were coming off a tough series against the Yankees where they did get swept, but still, it could be a hangover spot when you're coming off a series against the Yankees, man. So, excuse me, that may be what happened in that game. Severino actually, again, had pitched well on the road. He's been really good on the road and horrific at home, and that continues. He did only have 1 strikeout yesterday, and Walker didn't do that well, but we're not handicapping those guys. We're looking at the fact that the bullpens didn't get much usage yesterday, so Kansas City has the bullpen edge here because the teams had similar bullpen usage, and Kansas City's bullpen is way better than the A's. Jacob Lopez pitching for the A's, very tough pitcher to handicap. He has a 6 ERA and 1.71 whip, which is quite bad. And he's actually been better in that crazy A's stadium where hitting is usually the name of the game there. Somehow he's been way worse on the road with a 12.86 road ERA. And he's been all over the map, man. He'll come in and have a dominant performance, with a ton of strikeouts, and then he'll have a performance where he just doesn't do anything at all. So he's very, very difficult to gauge. I don't know what we're going to get. I think that 7-inning performance against Philadelphia is looking like more of an outlier, though, because he hasn't even gone 5 innings in any of the starts since then. So I don't trust Lopez. Kansas City has never seen him before, but I just don't think Lopez is trustworthy enough, even though he does obviously have enough strikeout stuff. But I just don't think it I don't think it makes sense to look his way in this game. He's up against Lorenzen, who's having a very mediocre season for the Royals. 4.94 ERA, 1.38 whip. He's been better at home, though, the 3 ERA at home, so he has been definitely better at home. Coming off a nice 7 strikeout performance, bouncing back from a real ugly performance against St. Louis, and a bad performance before that against Cincinnati as well. So 2 National League teams did damage against him, but he bounced back nicely. Granted, it was against a bad White Sox team, but he did pretty well in that start, only giving up 1 hit as well, even though he allowed 2 earned runs because he allowed a home run, 2 walks. Pitched pretty well, 7 strikeouts. Was against a weak White Sox lineup, though. Against the A's, he has good numbers as well, 27 at-bats. He's on to a 222 average, 633 OPS. So I think you have to look to Kansas City in this game, but they are public, 77% of the tickets and only 58% of the cash, so I just can't do it, man. It looks like the market read is against it. Kansas City up from minus 150 and minus 152, but it looks like the market is indicating against it, so we'll stay away from that one too. St. Louis and Milwaukee. Milwaukee is, they've won both games of the series so far, man. So on the one hand, St. Louis is going to be pretty angry here and want to bounce back here. On the other hand, I think St. Louis, the regression monster, is catching up to St. Louis here, I think, because St. Louis, I just think they're not as good as what their record would tell you. Like, I think they had a hot start to the season, and I don't think they're as good as they look. And I don't love St. Louis in this game either, with Andre Pallante on the mound. Yes, by the way, Milwaukee did use some of their best relievers yesterday, though, so Milwaukee has a pretty bad bullpen, and having used their best relievers yesterday to finish the game off, Milwaukee's bullpen is potentially an issue here, so if you do like Milwaukee in this game with the starting pitching matchup, I would limit it to just that. Don't deal with the bullpens. I would only go first 5 innings with Milwaukee in this one. Pallante pitching for the Cardinals, not having a good season, 4.75 ERA. 1.38 whip. He's been a little bit better on the road, 4.43 ERA, but not significant. Coming off a decent 6-inning performance against Toronto, allowed 2 earned runs, only struck out 3. Not terrible. He's been mostly serviceable over the last month or so, but he's not great. And against Milwaukee, his numbers are not good. In 40 at bats, 6.6 strikeout walk ratio, 300 average, allowed 966 OPS. Contreras is 3 for 7 with a home run, 5 RBIs and a walk off him, no strikeouts. Hoskins 2 for 7 with a home run and 3 strikeouts. Terang 3 for 8 off him with a double. So some of these guys have hit him pretty well. Yelich is only 2 for 8, but does have a home run and a strikeout off him as well. So Pallante hasn't done that well against him. Maybe some player prop potential in some of those guys there. He's up against Jose Quintana, who kind of continues to defy the odds as far as the fact that he's pitching pretty well as a control pitcher that really has never been like a strikeout guy. He's not a velocity guy, and he's old now, but he's using that to his advantage right now. He's using his control to his advantage, and he is pitching well this season for the most part. 2.66 ERA. 1.32 whip is a little bit bad, though. And I worry a bit because in the month of June, in the last 2 starts, even though his team won both starts behind him, he only allowed 3 runs total, but a 7-7 strikeout walk ratio is not very good. So I do worry about his strikeout walk ratio here. He's been worse at home, too, with a 4.6 ERA at home, so all of that does worry me. He's been good against St. Louis, though. He's actually dominated them in a big 77 at-bat sample size. 19-7 strikeout walk ratio. It's too many walks, but 5 of them are Contreras, the other Contreras. So it seems like he kind of just pitches around Contreras. But overall, in a huge sample size, he's actually held St. Louis to an unbelievably low 117 average and 437 OPS. So Quintana has actually done well against St. Louis, although he hasn't been very good at home here. But I do think he is the better of the 2 pitchers in this starting pitching matchup. And the money is actually agreeing with me now. I thought it wasn't agreeing with me. Money line has gone down from minus 120 to minus 117 on Milwaukee, but we have 53% of tickets. 53% of tickets. I almost said tits. Yeah, that's where my mind always is. 53% of the tits are in my DMs. 53% of the tickets and 72% of the cash on Milwaukee here. So the cash is actually agreeing with me. I worry a little bit just because Quintana's walking a lot of guys recently and because his home ERA is not very good. But that is the way that I would lean is Milwaukee. But it would be first 5 innings Milwaukee in that game would be my lean in that one. What's up, Charles? It is a minor league stadium. Yeah, it's where the Sacramento Bees play, I believe. Yeah, so it's probably a cool stadium. And a lot of these minor league stadiums are cool. It's just it's a really hitter-friendly park, man. So you get some really wacky results there from these major league teams that are playing there. But Oakland, or the A's, I mean, need a home, yeah. Yes, some of them are indeed, yes. The ladies in my DMs, man. Let's get more of them. Yankees, Boston, of course, one of the big matchups of the weekend here. Red Sox took the game yesterday on a walk-off by Carlos Narvaez, is that his name? Which is hilarious because the Yankees, I believe, traded him to the Red Sox, so he walked off the Yankees yesterday, beating his former team now playing for their arch rival, the Red Sox. A huge walk-off win for the Red Sox yesterday. There was a massive celebration yesterday. Red Sox are now 3-1 against the Yankees this year. But I mean, Garrett Crochet pitched for the Yankees. Oh God, that let's not have that happen. Garrett Crochet pitched really well against the Yankees yesterday. He went like 8 1/3 innings yesterday in the game. Had a really nice effort yesterday. Garrett Crochet, baby. One of the main reasons why the Red Sox won yesterday. And Yarbrough did not do that well. So the Yankees used more of their bullpen yesterday too. So Red Sox have the worst bullpen out of these two teams. There's no question about that. But the Yankees did use some of their relief pitchers yesterday, so maybe it balances out a little bit. Carlos Rodon is pitching for the Yankees. He's having a really nice season, 2.87 ERA, 0.94 whip. He's been a little bit better on the road, too, with a 2.61 road ERA. So he's been good on the road, but he literally just faced the Red Sox in Yankee Stadium, and the Red Sox knocked him around a bit. He walked 3 guys, gave up 2 home runs, 5 runs. The home run's maybe a little bit of an outlier, but we're in another home run-friendly park here in Boston here. And because Rodon is a lefty, that probably means you're going to see more right-handed hitters for the Red Sox here, which also is more home run conducive because that means they're hitting towards the green monster more often than not in this stadium. So maybe that's not a good thing. So the Red Sox they're one of the few teams that does some damage against Rodon. And because they just saw him, maybe the Red Sox will continue that success because they know what to expect from Rodon. Although Rodon, I mean, maybe the 2 home runs made it a little bit of an outlier. He did only allow 3 hits, but he was wild. But again, maybe Rodon will bounce back and do a little bit better this time out. But against the Red Sox, his numbers are a little bit all over the place. In 90 at-bats, he has a 22-10 strikeout walk ratio, which is not very good. He's allowed 5 home runs to all different hitters. 244 average is pretty low, but an 809 OPS is pretty high. So the Red Sox have had some hard hits against him and a lot of walks. So he hasn't been that terrific against them. Hunter Dobbins is pitching for the Red Sox. He's been okay for them. 4.2 ERA, 1.28 whip. He is a rookie, so he's had the advantage of not having been seen before by a lot of these offenses. That is not going to be the case here because he pitched in the same game against Rodon, I'm pretty sure, right? Or no, this was the Yarbrough game, I think. I don't even remember. Dobbins pitched in one of those games, though, for the Red Sox, and he had no strikeouts, which is a pretty bad sign. And he allowed 2 home runs, but he kept the Red Sox in the game, man, only allowing 3 earned runs, and he actually got the win in the game. So Dobbins was good enough to get the Red Sox the win, but I do worry about Dobbins. The fact that he had no strikeouts, and now the Yankees know what to expect from him because that was a situation where Dobbins would have a bigger advantage because the biggest advantage you're going to have is when you're a rookie and the other team has never seen you before. So now I think he's not going to have that much of an advantage. And it's not like Dobbins is a guy that comes in and blows a lot of hitters away. He's a guy that comes in and he's an okay pitcher. Overall, his numbers are good against the Yankees for the most part just because of that one start. In 18 at-bats, he did allow 2 home runs, though, but he held him to a 222 average, 778 OPS, didn't walk anybody at least. So what do we expect in this game? I would probably say the over is the way to look in this game, even though, again, the market is not agreeing with me. It's down from 9 to 8.5, both juiced to the under. 65% of tickets on the over, 54% of the cash on the over. Yankees getting a lot of the money, up from minus 165 to minus 170. Yankees are a huge road favorite because Rodon is a way better pitcher than Dobbins, but again, I think because Rodon doesn't do that well against the Red Sox, I think it actually balances out, and I think that's why I think we could see some runs scored on both sides of this matchup. Yankees very public, 83% of tickets. The public is going to be on the Yankees. I mean, they have the way better record this year. They're the Yankees. You're always paying too much of a price to play the Yankees, so I do think the Yankees are still overvalued here. 93% of the cash coming in on them, so they are getting the money. I mean, Yankees probably will win this game, but I think it's a closer matchup than what that price would suggest. I don't think there's any value in taking the Yankees there. I do think over is the way to look. San Diego is at Arizona. Arizona took the first game here. They're on a nice little mini run of 4 wins in a row after Arizona had a really, really bad May. They're starting to play better again. They're still a pretty competitive team, man. They just have a really terrible bullpen, and their starting pitching has been a problem for a while, but they did get the win yesterday. Ryan Nelson actually pitched pretty well for them, and Kolek has started to regress a bit, which may be expected. I mean, he did not have a good start for San Diego yesterday. Both bullpens had similar usage yesterday, so the bullpen advantage here has to go to San Diego. They have a way better bullpen in general than Arizona does. And San Diego is basically going with a bullpen game here, more or less, and that's not good either because Ryan Bergere is their listed starter here. Numbers look good, 1.26 ERA, 0.98 whip. He did actually get them 5 innings in the last 2 outings of his, and San Diego has won 4 of the 6 games that he's participated in. So he's been decent for them. But if you dig a little bit deeper, I don't know, man. I mean, they don't want to overextend him. Maybe he will go a starter's workload here, though, and it won't really be a bullpen game. Maybe he will get them 5 innings again in this game. But pitching at Arizona is a different animal, man. I mean, this is a hitter-friendly ballpark, and Arizona has a really good lineup. Although he did face the Yankees in the Yankee Stadium twice, but did so in relief. So starting is a different animal too, man. In his 2 actual starts, he has a 6-6 strikeout walk ratio. So even though his ERA looks good, didn't allow many runs, had a shutout last time out against Milwaukee. He's walking too many guys, so I don't think you'd trust Bergere, even though also Arizona's never seen him before, but I still don't really trust him. He's up against Zach Gallen, who has not been that good this season, man, but I think he's going to start getting better. As I said, he did have 1 good start recently against the Braves, and I think he's going to get better again because he has not been this bad throughout his career. 5.15 ERA, 1.33 whip is very unlike him. I mean, you're usually going to get, I think, around a 4 ERA from him and a better whip than that, so I expect him to do a bit better. Maybe it won't be now, though, because he did, even though he had that 1 good start against Atlanta, he kind of fell apart again in the next game against Cincinnati. Walked 3 guys. Only gave up 4 earned runs, though, and that was because he gave up 3 home runs in the game. So he did actually limit the damage. And again, it was at Cincinnati, which is a hitter-friendly park. So you can kind of give him a little bit of a pass for that, although too many walks. And, of course, he's pitching in a hitter-friendly park here as well. And he's been way worse in this stadium than on the road. He has a really bad 6.38 home ERA here. So I don't know that you want to do anything with Gallen in this game. His numbers are okay against San Diego and 123 at-bats. They've seen a lot of them. 28-11 strikeout walk ratio. Too many walks, and he's held him to 236 average, but a 738 OPS because San Diego has 6 home runs off him. And if you want a player prop, Tatis is 5 for 17 with 2 home runs and 4 walks off him and 6 strikeouts. Cronenworth, 7 for 24 with 3 doubles, a home run, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. So those 2 guys, basically the big amounts of damage there. So I think probably an over in this game is also the way to look. I don't know what the market is saying on this one. Now, the market looks like it's disagreeing with that again. 54% of tickets and 59% of the cash on the under. Total kind of just sitting at 9.5 juice to the under. Don't agree with that either. And the money, it looks like there's a significant market read on Arizona, though, up from -145 to -167. 72% of the cash coming in them, 52% of tickets coming on San Diego. Public still is not sold on Arizona because they've been bad for a long portion of the season. And San Diego was pretty good for a large portion of the season. But I would agree with this. I think Arizona is probably the correct side because Gallen is the much more proven starter there. So I do still agree with the Arizona side, but I would not want to deal with their bullpen. I think San Diego does have the bullpen edge. So I think Arizona money line first 5 innings, or maybe you might have to turn it into like a run line play, but then you need them to be ahead after the first 5 innings. But that might be the way to look. Cleveland at Seattle. Seattle returned home yesterday and got the win anyway, even though it's always a somewhat difficult spot, I think, returning home, but they got the job done. 7-2 win for Seattle yesterday. Castillo did pitch well. I mentioned Castillo had been turning his season around. Cleveland used more of their bullpen yesterday as well, so that's not a good sign. Cleveland's bullpen not in great shape coming into this one. I think Seattle has the better bullpen out of the 2 anyway, but Cleveland is at a bullpen rest disadvantage as well. Cleveland has Tanner Bybee pitching with a 3.81 ERA, a 1.2 whip. I still like to call him Bibby, like Mike Bibby, just spelled differently. It sounds better. He's having a decent season. I mean, he is probably Cleveland's best starter, which this year isn't really saying much. But he's been pretty good, although on the road he has a 4.99 ERA, so he has been worse on the road, which is not great. He's doing well in June with a 12-2 strikeout walk ratio. Nothing to really complain about there, including a start against the Yankees on the road, which is not an easy task. Giving up 5 runs in 12 2/3 innings, only 9 hits. He's pitching well. this month so far. Against Seattle, he has decent numbers in 35 at-bats, 9-1 strikeout walk ratio, 257 average, 649 OPS. So Bibby has done fairly well against Seattle, so it's not all bad for Cleveland. George Kirby is going to be a difficult handicap here for Seattle, man. 6.53 ERA, 1.31 whip. Yeah, his numbers are really bad this year, but he's trying to come back from injury. And if he returns to form, I mean, look at what he's done over the past few years, man. His career with 3 prior seasons, basically 3 full seasons with Seattle prior to this year, 3.55 ERA, 1.1 whip on his career. So I think that's a better indicator. And he's been an excellent strikeout pitcher over his career with a ridiculous 7.5 strikeout walk ratio, which has actually gone down this year. So he's been a strikeout machine, not walking a lot of guys. So are we expecting Kirby to return to form here? I would say yes. I think these numbers are a bit of an outlier, basically because he's trying to return from injury. He had a couple of bad starts, but you can see he's basically improving start to start here. I mean, he went 5 innings in his second start after a bad first start. 5 innings again and allowed fewer runs in his next start. And now in his most recent start, look at what he did, man. 7 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts and no walks, 2 earned runs allowed against Anaheim. I know their offense isn't that good, but you strike out 14 guys and walk nobody in a game. That's kind of a buy sign on Kirby, man. That means he is basically returning to form right now here. That is an excellent, excellent start that I expected him to maybe be better, but I didn't expect him to be that good in that start. So he seems like he's pretty much back, but his numbers against Cleveland are actually awful. In 29 at-bats, 414 average allowed, 1,069 OPS, which is crazy bad. Quan is 5 for 8 off him with a triple. Carlos Santana has the 1 home run off him, 1 for 3. So a little bit worrying that Kirby has not been good against Cleveland, but I still think Kirby is probably the way to look here. I mean, he's just been dominant. He was dominant in that last start. So it seems like he is coming back. And if he's back in form, I prefer him. And then you get the advantage of Seattle's bullpen advantage here. The offenses are, I think, kind of a wash. Both offenses are very mediocre. The money coming in on Seattle a bit up from -130, -135, 61% of tickets, 73% of the cash. So the money is coming in on Seattle. And it is coming in on the under. If you do think this is a decent starting pitching matchup, it's a low total, though. In a pitcher-friendly park in Seattle, you're usually going to get a low total with a pitching matchup like this. It's flipped from 7 juice to the over to 7 juice to the under. 78% of tickets, 99% of the cash on the under. I don't hate the under, but I don't really trust the bullpens, especially Cleveland's here, so I don't love the full game under there. I'd probably just prefer the Seattle side. And then to finish it off, we get the late game, San Francisco at the Dodgers. I mentioned yesterday, Dodgers returning home from a road trip, and the Dodgers were going basically with a bullpen game yesterday. I was like, that's not good. And it wasn't good. The Dodgers lost the game. What am I saying? It wasn't a bullpen game. It was Yamamoto. I don't even know what I'm thinking, man. I apologize. I think I said it was going to be a pitching duel yesterday, and Yamamoto, surprisingly, got out-dueled big time by Webb. I mean, I'm not surprised Webb did well. I'm surprised that Yamamoto was this bad in that game against a Giants offense that's been miserable recently. So scratch all that. Both bullpens are very rested now coming into this game. Not a lot of bullpen usage yesterday. Giants have a very good bullpen. The Dodgers have an okay bullpen. So I think the bullpen situation is good coming into this game. You got Landon Raup pitching for San Francisco. 3.29 ERA is good. 1.36 whip is not quite as good. He does have a 4.02 road ERA as well, so he's been a little bit worse on the road. His whip is concerning. It just means he's walking too many guys. Raup is not really much of a strikeout guy. He throws like some crazy breaking pitches. This month so far, 7 of 4 strikeout walk ratio is not that good, but he has gone 6 innings in each start, allowing 0 and 3 earned runs in those starts. So they haven't been really awful. He's been okay. Against the Dodgers, he actually has good numbers in a very small sample size of 10. They're 1 for 10 off him. No extra base hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts, a 100 average, and a 200 OPS. So Landon Raup actually has done well against the Dodgers, and they haven't faced him this year either, it looks like. So Raup may have a decent outing in this one, man, because the Dodgers just haven't seen much of him, and he's done well. Clayton Kershaw is pitching for the Dodgers, and he is trying to make his comeback, man. 4.35 ERA, 1.55 whip. His whip is awful. He's putting way too many guys on base, and actually a lot of it is he's allowing too many hits. And also he's kind of allowing too many walks, but he has kind of started to settle down a little bit. Like 2 of his last 3 starts have been pretty good, although both of the good ones were on the road against Cleveland and St. Louis, who aren't great offenses. But his last outing is a good sign that he had 7 strikeouts, no walks, and a 5-inning, 1-run performance against St. Louis. So that may mean that Kershaw is coming back into form here, man. And maybe he is not done yet. And of course, because he's Kershaw, his career numbers against the Giants are going to be good, and they are. In 99 at-bats, 26-2 strikeout walk ratio, 222 average, 621 OPS. Has allowed a few home runs, but the guys that have hit home runs off him don't have really good averages off him, except for Yaz is 5 for 16 with a home run and a double. But Kershaw does have pretty good numbers against him. So if you think that Kershaw's last start is a buy sign on him, then I think this may be an under game. The total's up from 9-9 with juice on the over. 82% of tickets on the over, 70% of the cash on the over. Of course, you know the public's going to come in on the over in a game like this, even though you remember the Giants were on that huge under streak before they played a few overs recently. But the Giants have been a very under-heavy team, and I think it may be the case here, man. So Kershaw at least does get a little bit of an easy time here because he's facing a San Francisco offense that really has not been very good. So I think the under is the way to look in this one, and the public is going to have a tendency to want the over in a game like this with Giants, Dodgers, especially in a Dodgers game. So that is the way that I would look. Would be the under in that game. And that's going to do it, man. Seattle has Raleigh. Yeah, I mean, they have Arozarena. I mean, they have a couple of good hitters there. And Polanco, I think. They have a few good hitters. But not really a great offense. That's going to do it for me, man. Learn to Toad on Twitter. My plays one more time are over in Miami, Washington in baseball. Over the 9. Baltimore Orioles split run line, money line, half bet on each. Tampa Bay Rays in the first 5 innings only, money line, and a stupid WNBA play laying the points with the New York Liberty. In Caitlin Clark's return, we're going to fade her in the reverse injured player spot. That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. You can still subscribe to the Tower Gang Patreon, patreon.com/Tower Gang if you want to still have access to all the bonus content that we have put out there. RIP, though, because we're not doing new content, at least right now. I don't know, man. You can still come to Bro Grove. I think there might still be tickets available for that if you want to go to that, which I may be in attendance for that at this point. I cannot promise anything. That'll be the end of that's in a week from now, Friday, Saturday, I believe. And that's it. I think that's going to do it. My givesendgo.com/TowerGangToad is still out there. Probably closing it within the next day or two, which I know I've said that a couple of times, but I think it's going to happen. Thank you, sir. It's going to be an early Father's Day, a celebration mostly. Thank you, Charles. Yes, that's true. Tower Gang never will die, right? Although it will not die in people's memories, at least. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. That's going to do it. Have a good Saturday. Let's have a good weekend, everybody. Peace.